Dear listener, ClockTower is intended for mature audiences and might be inappropriate or possibly triggering to some. Many of the themes and events in ClockTower are inspired by weird fiction as well as similar concepts, which means the show can get dark. If that isn't something you enjoy, please listen at your own discretion. We here at the ClockTower care about you, so please put your mental health first. Our show will be here when you're ready.
Welcome to Season 2 of ClockTower, a D&D 5e experience. To all our old and new listeners, we're excited to have you here with us. ClockTower is a D&D campaign turned audio drama, played with a custom class and a few house rules that we as a group collectively enjoy. If you find yourself getting a little lost, there's always older episodes to guide you back to the path. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and welcome to the ClockTower.
So, where should we start again?
Are we thinking maybe like right in front of the classroom? We don't have to go in yet and then go in fresh. Actually, maybe before, so we're not late. I have to.
That did kind of turn some eyes, I think.
Yeah.
And put us on immediate make fun of.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of pumped them out pretty easy. I can just do it again later. It's fine.
That's true. Let's just restart from the top. All right?
Sure. Also, before we hop in, do y'all mind if I I don't know, I may at some point.
Do you want the seat at the front of the class instead?
Oh no, I was gonna probably after this class or maybe on a different run, just go invisible and ditch the class because I kind of want to explore. But at the same time, maybe we sit through all this class together and then decide to make groups.
I guess that would be a good test to see how vigilant that hall monitor is.
I was going to say, I think the ferryman might have a problem with that. I mean, it seemed like he had a zone as he walked forward that kind of followed him.
Well, I mean, if there's only one of them, then if I just keep going, I know which way he's coming from.
Opposite direction, yeah, that's true.
We'll just see.
Alright.
Fair. Alright, good point. So let's go outside the classroom and we'll just go inside.
All right, it's all set up.
As you step through the mirror, you see the sort of carved marble halls again as everybody's sort of milling about. And you hear a series of chimes that sound similar to a school bell, but the sound of them sounds a little off to what you would think a traditional sort of modern school bell would sound like. And then everybody starts filtering into the various different arches that lead to classrooms.
Start funneling in as well.
Are you guys going to take the seats that you took last time on the mission? Or are you going to try and switch it up again?
Are there more open seats now that we're on time? Or are there people already kind of making their
You could
groups?
try to take one of the seats before someone else sits there, or you could just sit in one of the 4 open seats that were there previously. Up to you guys.
I will sit again with the Zeus kids.
Right where you sat previously?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll sit in the same seat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Same.
All right. When you guys all do take your seats, you notice that you're not remarked for being late by the teacher. Nobody even seems to notice you or feels like anything you're doing is out of place. And as you're sitting down at those seats, it seems like nobody has any problem with you guys taking all of those seats. So much so that this time, the Zeus kids don't even really notice you that much, Sam, other than one of them casually remarking about how fluffy your toga is and how it's being worn badly. But they hardly notice, and that falls off as if one kid had made a joke that everybody else didn't really understand, and he didn't want to explain it, so then he just kind of listened to the lecture of the class. It gets back to that same question where the teacher goes, and today, class, we'll ask, what is the proper way to greet the gods? As the girl next to Trinket again has her hand up and is very excitedly and he's specifically not calling on her.
Jaeger just sort of leans back in the seat and pushes his grapevine hat down.
It's not gonna answer this time. Okay, does anybody else do anything, or you guys just let it ride this time?
Let it ride.
Okay. Eventually, he calls on one of the Zeus kids as he says, Agathon, what do you have to say, child of Zeus? Agathon stands up in response and says, with burnt offerings and supplicating yourself before them and asking for nothing than what they're willing to give. As he goes, very good. As Jaeger, you go, that's so not tipping a hat. That's
So stupid.
And then his buddies, the Zeus buddies, make fun of him for answering a question in class, and he kind of ribs one of them. Shut the fuck. As all of you don't make waves. And the teacher again talks about the finals at the end of the week, which is 3 days from now. You guys know that the finals will be everybody going in teams into the maze of the Minotaur and having to find something within the maze that is specific to your team and get out of the maze without dying. Do any of you ask any extra questions when the teacher is like, are there any other questions?
I'll raise my hand.
Yes, child of Ares.
How are the teams distributed exactly?
You will know on the day of the finals when you go to the yard what team you're with.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
Sam's gonna nudge one of the Zeus kids, just very footwear to footwear, and just gesture with their head of the teacher being this guy. Am I right, fellow students?
Roll a persuasion check.
Not deception.
Yeah, deception works too. Sure.
That is 21.
He got a 6. And he looks at you and looks at the teacher and then looks at all of his friends. He's like, yeah, exactly. Man, Athena and Zeus always gets along. And nods to, which is completely opposite of what he says last time on the mission. You're kind of like...
Sam, just that slight eye narrow and nods yep, always listen to my counsel.
Yeah, I think I will. And the guy nods at you. And this is the same guy, it's Agathon, the one who answered the question previously. And he's like, I don't know why I haven't spoken to you before, but you're like one of Zeus's clouds. Very fluffy. And then he stands up as the teacher is dismissing the rest of class. And you see everybody sort of is milling out into the halls. And this time, almost nobody is even aware or notices any of your presence, except for the girl who's sitting next to Trinket, who again has talked your ear off so much. But without the class ending in horrible violence and someone going to the principal's office, you're all sort of dismissed into the halls of this school, and you're not sure when the next class is going to be or what is happening next. Barrett, roll a history check.
14 total.
Okay. You both remember looking out at the harbor and seeing kind of vaguely what time of day it was, as well as listening to your friend Undell talk about how there were already several classes today. What do you mean you just arrived at this class? You were the boat was late. So you realize that it's midday of classes, and then the girl, you're close enough as Undell is not talked to you yet, other than while you were looking out the window and being yeah, it's nicer this time of year when the wind is blowing the other direction. You don't get the smell. But he's definitely kind of standing around you because you seem cool. But you guys are close enough to overhear Trinket because the girl is not quiet. And she goes, so are you going to lunch now? Do you want to go to lunch out in the field? Because we could do that, and then I could talk to you about whatever you want to talk about.
Sure. That sounds great.
Literally jumps up and claps, and her hair does little flaps, and she kind of floats in the air, and she's like, yeah, okay, do you want to go over by the olive trees, or do you want to go in the garden, or do you want to go in the stadium where we can overlook the maze, or
Well, which one is your favorite?
She looks like you've asked her such a deep question. Her eyes go wide, and she's like, oh, I don't know. I like them all for different reasons. There's so many different... I wonder... Here, let me list all the reasons why I like every single one of those options, and then I can decide which one is my favorite one. So I like all the olive trees because it's really nice, and the grass... And she goes for so long, and you learn a lot about all the various different places. To summarize what she tells you in a frantic burst, there is sort of a field of lush grass and olive trees in the shade that you can go out of that is well within the sort of walls of the Athenaeum, and not within the main sort of Colosseum building, but there are exterior walls and the grounds of the Athenaeum that you're allowed to go to. And there are a bunch of trees that you can go sit in, and there's a lot of like flat area of fields out there for people to run around in and do whatever the fuck they want. So there's also, on the other side of the stadiums that make up the school, a garden where a lot of food is grown and a lot of stone statues and benches that people often recline on and enjoy various different. There's a lot of lounging that happens in the Greek hero school. And then there's the stadium that you can sit amongst the Colosseum stadium seats and look at the maze, is what she said. And you're not exactly, she kind of lists how if the maze is like up right now, you guys can kind of like look at it and get an idea, but it always changes. So there's no way to really know how it goes. And if it's not the maze, then you guys can just look at the actual Colosseum part, and maybe people will be training, and that's always fun to watch while having food as well. And I think those are the three options that she kind of gave you. And then she, after all of that, after explaining all of them in detail, the pros and cons of every one of them that she likes, her like wings stop flying. She kind of just like deflates a little bit. She goes, I can't choose.
Okay, let's go see if we can look at the maze then.
Okay. She just goes and just like is gone for a second.
Well,
And then you give it a couple of seconds. Do you do anything while you're waiting? Or you just...
I mean, I'll get up and pretend I might know where I'm supposed to go.
Okay. She starts heading that way, and then she comes back. She's like, and like just dead stops right in front of you, so much so that the air like blows your hair back a little bit. She goes, I'm so sorry. I forgot that you can't fly or go as fast as me. Do you want to come with me, or should I try and slow down?
I can go with you, I guess.
Okay. And she holds her hand out.
I take her hand.
Boom. You are...
Now I know. Hopefully this time I'm more prepared.
Roll a dexterity or strength check or an athletics check with advantage.
16.
You hold on, and she flies you all the way to the cafeteria in seconds. She's very fast.
Yes.
What are you doing?
It's like everybody's like, standing up and getting
Everybody
distributed.
if this was some sort of like school of some kind, right? You might expect that people are all going someplace with purpose, that they're going to the cafeteria to get food really quickly, so because they only have a limited time to eat and do whatever they want to do before they have to go to another class. That doesn't seem to be what's happening. Everybody is taking their time. Some of them are chatting in the halls. Some of them are actively going wherever. Some of them are rushing in a direction. You just saw that girl with the hair wings just take Trinket and like gone. You have no idea where Trinket is now, but you're kind of just like, okay. And like to your left are solid walls of marble that lead to the various different classrooms and all have like arches as doorways between the arches. But to the right, there are just these columns that hold up the floor above you and and are based off the floor you're standing on. And it's only about a 3-foot wall height between the columns that would keep you from just like falling over, which is not much. And you can kind of see that you're on a second story, and down below you are like rows of seats that go into stadium seating that go down into a coliseum.
I'll like, fix my toga, like throw it over my shoulder as I stand up. Andel, right?
It's Undell. Have we?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Have we talked before?
No. Barrett, son of Ares. Nice to meet you, man.
Oh, Undell. But you knew that already. I'm
Not quite, but
son of Hephaestus. How'd you know my name?
I didn't, obviously. But what do you do at lunch? You go to the workshop or something?
Roll a deception check.
9?
He got an 8, so you beat him by 1 point. He looks at you like a really long time and then goes, all right, well, yeah, I was thinking about going to the workshop, but I don't know. He like looks over at the stadium and he goes, I kind of just have been feeling like, what's the point? I haven't been inspired to make anything recently. There's like nothing that interests me, and we're all gonna die in like 3 days anyway, so like what does it matter? But yeah, I was probably gonna go to the workshop.
Mind if I join?
No, go ahead. I've never seen a child of Ares be interested in the workshop before, but sure.
Well, can't say I'm all that handy, but I don't know. Never really been there.
All right, well, sure. And he starts going.
Cool. Just start following him.
All right. Sam, what are you doing?
Sam probably going to ask around.
As you start walking to like ask somebody anything you were going to ask them, you hear Agathon behind you go, hey, where are you going?
Well, I was going to go speak to the gods.
We're going to go play with the discs.
Okay.
You're coming with us, right?
Well, don't you want to get counsel from the gods first? I mean, you don't have to, but...
Roll persuasion.
11.
He got a 19, and he says, so he turns back to Sam and goes, nah, I know which god has my back. And he like puts his fist to his chest and then points 2 fingers in the air, like, and he like winks up and smiles in the most arrogant way you've ever seen. You're like, you half expect a lightning bolt to like just hit him now. It doesn't happen.
All right, well, yeah, we can go on.
Unless you need to ask your gods for support.
Well, my god's all about helping our, your god, so.
Exactly. See, I told you. This guy
So that's
knows.
why I'm gonna, because you got you, right? But then I got you as well.
Roll persuasion.
You got you.
Advantage.
But I also got you.
A natural 20.
Nice. Hit. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Sam.
Hey, Sam's on my team when we play disc. Come on, let's go.
Wait. But I gotta have the gods. No. She's right. No.
Jaeger, what are you doing?
Jaeger was watching that entire situation happen. He kind of goes, he has a chance this time. Hey, Teach, quick question.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still not used to the place yet. Where exactly is the, where exactly when I go to do some, prayer?
Well, you can go to the altar of the gods. You could go to the altar of the gods. He seemed to want to question you about some things, but he ultimately decides it's not worth it.
Thank you. Turns and walks out the door.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to find the altar of the gods.
Roll a history check. See if you can figure out where that is on your own.
23.
You do find it. No problem. And you realize that it's just a huge sort of halled room on the first floor that isn't even connected completely to the main Colosseum building. It's its own sort of standout building away from it. And there are marble statues of all of the various different gods.
I look at my little badge. I look around. I'm like, okay, what is?
You do, in fact, see a statue of Apollo with a bow aiming down.
Walk over to that statue. Sit down. I need to offer something. You know what? Reaches into his pocket, pulls out a coin, sets it down, and then sits down in front of the altar.
Roll.
2.
Okay. Roll a perception check.
22.
You pull the coin out, and you're about to set it down on the altar. And then you feel this, feeling over your shoulder, like you're being watched. Like there's someone watching you.
Slightly, just glance over my shoulder just a little bit.
You see that there's another statue of a god across the way, like they're all symmetrically lined up with each other. And you see a statue of a woman with a helmet pushed slightly back, her hair flowing down. She's got a spear in one hand and a shield on that arm that she's holding the spear in. And her other hand is holding out her finger, sort of bent, and perched on her finger is a statue of an owl. And it is looking straight at you. And you're like, was it just carved? to be looking straight at you because it's a statue, but it is looking like right where you're standing.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to bug you. And then he gets up and walks over to the other statue. And then he looks up and holds out the coin.
The coin disappears and you feel like time sort of stop again. And this time, in a way that you've never seen before, the stone of the statue cracks off and flakes away like it was a thin coating around it. And you see blue feathers from where the statue of the owl stood. And it looks down at you. And you just hear a voice echoing all around the hall that you're now standing in as you hear, "Hello, Jaeger."
Hello. I'm sorry to have disturbed you.
Well, that's a good start. It's much more polite than you usually are.
I mean, you haven't really tried to choke me out before, so this is a new feeling.
Well, I'm being paid currently.
Ah, fair.
What can I do for you?
Question. How can we ensure that we all form a team for the test at the end of this week?
The teams are already decided and it's written down. If you could find that list and alter it, then I'm sure that you could end up on the same teams. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ways that you could ensure that you all end up on the same team. You could try to buddy up to some of the teachers. You could try to make sure that the partners you were supposed to be with could not end up going to the finals. It all depends on how you want to do things.
Well, I have said before, I'm trying to make sure I do a bit better than hurting people, as if I could avoid it, so...
I'm sure that's making you feel much better. Do you have another coin? Do you need to ask me another question?
You're good. Have a good day.
Be seeing you.
Please don't.
And then you look up and it's just a statue again.
Oh, why is my life so hard? And he just turns and walks out the door.
Your foot lands on something and it rolls underneath your foot like something long and narrow that's round. And it almost trips you.
What? You look down.
There's a golden arrow on the ground.
Huh. I look at it, I look around, like trying to figure out where the heck it came from. I look back at the statue of the first god I stood in front of. Huh. It's got to be important. And then he's gonna like kind of, I don't know who this is from, but thank you. And then he'll put
Your words echo through the empty halls.
Yeah, puts it in his quiver and then keeps walking.
Okay. Trinket, you get to a large sort of line that's forming, and you see that there's just a long sort of feast table set up at one part of the Athenaeum, and people are just grabbing what they like off of the table and putting it onto these like bronze plates that they all have. And I'm not going to talk as her the entire time we're doing this arc, but just assume that most of the time she is talking to you. She is saying, she just doesn't stop. At currently, as you're like looking at the spread on the table, she's talking to you about how much she likes various different wines, because all the kids that are children of Dionysus plant the grapes in the garden and then like make perfect wine for everybody to be drinking from, and it's just this like fantastic thing. Although the kids from Dionysus don't really do very well in the game, so that some of the better wine doesn't exist anymore because it's either aging or it's not ready yet, or they've already drank all of it, and there haven't been that many kids from Dionysus since the last finals, and on and on and on.
I'm just gonna casually grab some food things and follow her.
Okay. She eventually leads you to the stadiums, in which she's like pleasantly sits down and puts the like bronze plate between you and her, and then it's just like kind of picking things off of it as you look at the stadium. And you do in fact see that there are people sort of training in the sand down there. There are a few people who are sort of watching off to the sidelines, but there's two people who are going specifically. One looks to be a student. They're wearing the same sort of like student garb that everybody else is, and the symbol you don't recognize, so it must not be one of the like more obvious of the gods from this pantheon. And they're fighting with this sort of taller girl who looks about the rest of the way that the rest of these demigods do. She's extremely well built, and she's fighting with a shield and a spear, and she is just like making a fool of this kid, but keeps helping them up every time he fails. And they're training like hard. And then the girl kind of like, wow, I've never seen anyone last that long against Aelith. I guess, well, that does make sense though. She kind of like stops midway through her sentence, doesn't explain herself, continues to talk as she goes, anyway, like I was saying, I really like the time in the garden when all the flowers come to bloom, because when they blossom, then you can really...
Wait, so who is that other person?
Oh, the guy down there? Oh, that's, she snaps her fingers, she goes, I think Cleon? Yeah, child of Eris, the god of discord.
Great. Not a lot of those.
No, there really aren't. However, yeah, no one likes that guy. I guess he's just training it all out, you know? Just like punch away your feelings.
Well, I mean, everyone might die at the end of the week, so I think they're taking this a little seriously.
Yeah. She like looks down and she stopped talking.
So, do you know how they decide the teams?
Oh no. Nobody really does. Everybody goes out into the stadium, into the yard, and then they just sort of tell everybody whose teams you're with.
Who tells them?
Oh, the teachers, the faculty does.
A specific one, or all of them?
Well,
they
all kind of, they just sort of all.
That's a lot.
They line up and then there are a lot of students.
I need to find one of my friends, the short one, with the poofy short Sam.
She looks at you like she has no idea who you're talking about.
He was like being, I think, pulled around by some jocks.
She stares at you.
Where would the jocks be?
She stares at you.
Well, you're pretty fast. I think we could just look around and...
Oh, you want a tour?
Sure. That works.
She like flies up for a second. She goes, oh, but what about our food? We haven't finished eating yet.
Yeah, I this is more important.
She goes, okay, if you say so. And she holds out both her hands.
All right, I take them, I suppose.
You've done this enough times that you're ready for it at this time, but she fucking boom goes. And she just like flies you way higher than you were expecting. But there's sort of like a few birds that are going above the stadium that when she like sees those, she specifically flies below the level of those birds and then flies you like around, and she's trying to say something to you, but you're going really fast and you're kind of high up, and what you hear is a lot of but what she is trying to say is kind of just like lost in all of that. So you see that she is talking to you, but you're not sure what the fuck she's saying.
So I'm looking for Sam while we're up here.
Yeah, roll a perception check with advantage, because you're kind of going.
Mm-hmm. I'm also fairly recognizable.
And due to parallax, you will move less than objects closer to her.
Yeah.
15.
You do, in fact, see Sam is like on a sort of like grassy field that they've got these like bronze discs that they're effectively playing some sort of weird combination between like volleyball and like ultimate frisbee. I love all the different faces that Cal just made, but Sam seems wildly out of their depth in this like sports game that is being played by all of these like jockey Zeus guys. And then you see Sam, and then you realize that she's flying.
I mean, I try to get her attention.
How?
Is she holding both of my hands?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I'll kind of tug on her a little bit.
She like looks down at you, and you see her mouth moving like she's still saying things, and you still just hear the like.
Gotta pull into a dive.
I was gonna say this is gonna suck. I'm gonna point. I'm gonna let go with one of my hands. I'm not
Great.
gonna
Roll an
attempt
athletics check.
10.
10. You slip.
Yeah.
And you fall, but she's still moving forward. So you start going down and backwards, kind of, and she lets you. You just see her like, and just like sort of stop midair and like try to go catch up to you. But the thing is that like falling is kind of the max speed that you can fall at. So she's.
Do I feel like I'm going to die if I hit the ground?
You're not. If you hit the ground, yeah. You're not sure whether or not she's gonna catch you.
Can I see this? Can I make a perception check?
So we'll go, Sam, you have played a couple seconds of whatever this game is. Roll a history check, we'll say, or if you've got another roll you want to try and lobby to roll instead, to understand the rules of this game.
Well, I jokingly wanted to say survival, but a history works too.
So I would accept survival, but...
17 plus 5 for 23.
Okay. You, by like process of watching others, catch on to the rules of this game really quickly. And you're like, okay, I have to grab the disc and I have to hold it for exactly 2 seconds before throwing it again. And once I throw it, then the other person has to like grab it and pass it to someone on their team. And if I am catching it from the air, I have to pass it to somebody else before I can, you're like,
I'm in it.
You're in it. You're in it. You've got it. You understand the rules. Now roll an athletics check to see how you're doing.
Oh, damn. Can I not performance?
If you roll performance, you could do one thing really flashily, but you'll still have to roll an athletics check to see how you're doing in the overall game.
Well, let's see the athletics check first.
Okay.
That makes sense. 7.
Not well.
Not well. That's
Not
the thing,
the
though.
best.
For the
Not the
performance
best.
check, I want to be like, if any of the disc actually comes to me, it's screwed. It's over. But I want to be behind all the other jocks, like giving them guidance, literally the spell guidance. And just like
Playmaker.
literally being like casting the message cantrip and the guidance cantrip and being like, over there, you got this, you can do it.
On your left.
He's weak.
All right, roll the performance with advantage.
15 plus 5 for unnatural 20.
Nice. You are basically like masterminding this game right now because you understand the rules and they're better at doing it than you are. So you just make sure that it never comes to you and you're just like managing the entire team as you're like, yes, go my puppets.
Thanks, Coach Sam.
So much so that one of them on the other team, when the disc like goes outside of the ring, goes, "This isn't fair. You have a child of Athena on your team giving you all the answers. You're getting strategy." As one of the Zeus kid, the Agathon looks at him and goes, "How dare you? Sam is a valued member of our team. And to slight the name of Sam is to slight my name, and in so doing, to slight my father's name." And the other kid's like, "Fuck you, he's my father too, I'm gonna kick your ass."
Sam like raises up both hands and says, "Now I understand this needs
Roll
to
a
happen."
perception check.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good point. Okay, that is an 18.
You're in mid-sentence, you're like, "Now guys, I understand." And you look up and you see Trinket plummeting from the sky.
How far is she from the ground?
You know, she's
Is she within
about the
6?
top of the stadium and getting real close to the floor as we speak.
In that case, carry me towards her.
Just to make sure I understand this, Sam has gone from, "Now I need you all to understand, carry me towards her."
I've gone, prove your worth between each other by saving her and carry me towards her.
You're like, "Prove your worth by carrying me over to her." And they look up and they're like, "What?" And then the other guy fucking punches him in the side. He goes down on top of you and you're kind of like,
So the moment I get bumps, I use my reaction to teleport. Closer to Trinket. I teleport 60 feet to Trinket.
okay, you teleport up and close. Trinket's now within 60 feet. What are you doing? In these like this is all happening within the span of several seconds.
Yes. Yeah, choose up to 5 falling creatures within range. So there you go.
Okay.
So I'm going to choose myself and Trinket and cast Featherfall.
Okay. So the dude falls on you. You take 1 point of damage before you go and just teleport straight up into the air. You cast Featherfall on Trinket and Featherfall on yourself. The Hermes girl misses Trinket because she just stopped falling like slow, like fast at all. She goes whoom, straight through. I'm gonna see if she can slow herself down. She got a 2.
No.
She misses Trinket entirely, looks back up to see what the fuck just happened to Trinket as Trinket's like now slowly falling down, and she hits a statue on the side of the fucking school building. She failed her save.
Like a bird hitting a window.
She kind of just like, and then she like crashes through the statue and then like tumbles into the ground, and you just see her make like a big like trough in the dirt and the grass where she's like landed. And then all of the Zeus kids are now fighting. They're all just going to war. And you and Sam are now floating down.
All right.
Hi, Trinket.
I was looking for you.
You found me. We're gonna be floating here for a minute.
I don't know if we should talk up here.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you don't think anybody can hear you as you're floating down from here.
If I don't
Although you guys are kind of shouting. Because you're not right next to each other.
We're kind of far.
Yeah.
So I'll wait till we hit the ground.
Okay. You see your friend. Have you asked her? You still haven't asked her name yet, have you? No. She like gets up and goes, "Peh," and just spits out a ton of dirt, and she otherwise seems completely unharmed.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's why, I was hoping that for some reason I had god powers too. And I could that's why I asked if I felt like I would die if I fell.
You think you would die?
I just kind of accepted that maybe that would have happened.
And eventually you guys safely float down to the ground.
Sam like shuffles over. Hi, again. Everything okay? I mean, apparently not, but
We have to figure out how all of us can end up on the same team.
And then in a flash, the Hermes girl has caught up to you two and goes, "I'm so sorry. I don't know how you slowed down like that, but I completely..."
Hang on. 1 second. Would you consider yourself to be a snitch?
I don't know what that is.
If someone was doing something that wasn't 100% by the rules, would you tell on them?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, who is it?
Me.
Oh. She like looks very contemplative and then goes, No, you're my best friend. And she
I'm Trinket.
Oh, we didn't do the part where we tell each other, I'm Chloe. I'm child of Hermes.
How many people are on each team?
5?
Okay.
I'm Sam.
This is Sam.
Hi, I'm Chloe, daughter of Hermes.
Hi, I'm Sam.
Did you just look?
Well, it's a little, it's like a little, we wear it on our chest for reference, right?
You forgot?
No, I'm showing respect.
Was I supposed to do that?
Let me counsel you now. It's okay.
Thank you for your counsel. She thinks about that for a second, but then seems to find no flaw in it and turns back to Trinket and goes, "So are we doing crime?"
Yes.
She nods.
We're gonna try to figure out how we can all end up on the same team.
Okay. Yeah.
Somewhere there are lists that are already written.
Did you ever get to the principal's office?
Oh, you don't want to go there. They keep the fire of Prometheus in there.
That's probably where it is.
That makes sense.
There's evil light in there.
Oh.
Well, it's
what?
not evil. It's just the fire of Prometheus. You know, because Prometheus stole fire from the gods, but then he was punished and he has a bird peck out his liver over and over.
Is that
and over
not
and over
evil?
and over and over. Well, it might have been an evil action, but is the thing that was stolen evil because of an evil action?
I just give Sam
don't
like
really know.
annoying look. Like
I think that like the idea is that the fire was stolen from the gods, and we weren't supposed to have the fire from the gods.
We also should try to find Jaeger and maybe Barrett.
Yeah.
And then we can figure out a plan.
So when I was the last time, Sam does like a little like circular motion with their fingers. Barrett was hanging out with another person. I think is the son of Hephaestus. So maybe if I know Barrett, he likes to find a person. So that would make sense.
But where would Jaeger be?
Sam like searches the field for like a shooting range.
And as you guys are like, where would Jaeger be? You guys see everybody else around you has completely frozen as if time has completely stopped.
Oh, so do you think Jaeger would go talk to the owl, considering the owl just tried to suffocate Jaeger?
Well, I mean, maybe he was saying that we need to be nicer to the owl all of a sudden, like it was his idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe, but where would the owl be?
Hey, it's me, Ellie again. I've had a few people reach out to me and express that they're really enjoying this arc, and I just wanted to say thank you. It's really nice to hear how people are enjoying the show, and I think it's important that we connect with each other in times like these. So, if you like the show and you want to talk to other people or make friends, you're always welcome to go hang out in our community Discord. I keep a close eye on it, and anytime that I do see people hanging out, I try to hang out as well. So, it's always good to hang out with friends. And now, on to credits. If you would like to work with us, contact us through our website, ClockTowerAgent.com. If you want to learn more about the art behind ClockTower, check out YouTube.com at ClockTower Art and Animation. Barrett was played by Bink, Sam was played by Cal, Trinket was played by Kball, Jaeger was played by Trent, and I, Ellinthris, was your DM. The voice of our disclaimer is Valik Donahew. Check out all of his work at patreon.com/themadlanddreamer. All music from Season 1 of ClockTower and some additional songs made for Season 2 of ClockTower made by Who's Music. If you would like your own D&D music commissioned, you can contact them and find all of their work through their website, whosisthis.com, or find it in the description below. Thanks, Who's! Additional music and FX provided by Andrew Smith and Cal. Thank you to our editing team and Cal for making the episodes what they are. Thank you to our sponsor, Alpha Lupine Images, for donating the equipment to help us make more content with better quality. The ClockTower test on our website was programmed by Mike LeMay. You can find out more of his work at thinklikeMike.com. Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon, and thank you again for listening. ClockTower, Season 2, Episode 52, will be out for all of our early episode patrons on March 28th, and will release publicly on April 4th. Till then, time's ticking. See you in the ClockTower.